Hey guys, Kaz here, and today I have a big ol' unhaul for you guys. So, a little bit of backstory. I've been wanting to get rid of a few books for a while, been thinking about it, and then finally the other day I was like, boom, let's take some off my shelf. And then it got to the point where I looked down and realised that all the ones I'd pulled off are books I've already read, because I was more likely to unhaul books that I thought were meh, rather than books I haven't read, because maybe they're good. And then I thought, that's probably going to make my read to unread even worse rather than better, getting rid of books. So it made me pull off some ones that I haven't read, which is good, because turns out the stack is now at 60. So we've got 60 books to go through. Well, let's just get into it. No particular order, they're just in 3 stacks on the floor. Let's just pick them. I'll tell a lie, there's 61 because this book, Totally Joe, I'm unhauling but not really unhauling because I got it from eBay, and then when I was reading it I realised that like 10 pages were missing randomly. It went from 80 to 91. They gave me my money back. I still read it because it's non-linear, but maybe I'll use it for like the blackout poetry or the background of something, because I can't exactly give a book away that's got loads of pages that don't exist anymore. But that's like a +1. Let's get into the actual 60. And a bit of pre-warning, there are some popular ass books in here. Let's start with one of them. Boom! The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I read this. I thought it was alright. The world building, or the way stuff is explained, is very pretty. The plot, pretty non-existent, boring, characters boring. Everything was pretty and red and black, but also everything was boring. Bye bye, The Night Circus. Once by James Herbert. I've never read this book. I've had it for years. I've had it for a millennia. Don't need it. Get rid. I'm not even going to read the back because it will just make me think, oh, maybe I will keep it. I don't need it. What is it even about? We don't know. We're getting rid. This next one has been a long time coming. Forgive Me, Leona Peacock by Matthew Quick. I gave it like 2 stars ages ago. A couple of years ago, this was my go-to book to rant about whenever I wanted to rant about a book. But, you know, it's not even being used for that recently. So, get rid. It was really irritating. Enduring Love by Ian McEwan. I'm not going to read it. I've got it. It's just there. I'm not going to read it. Get rid. The School for Good and Evil and The School for Good and Evil, A World Without Princes by Simon Shinani. This one was alright, the first book. It kind of was a little bit annoying. The characters annoyed me, and then I found the second book for 50p, and even though the first book annoyed me, I bought it and then read it, and even less alright. 3 stars, I think. Don't care about it. It can go away. Suicide Notes by Michael Thomas Ford. This one, there was just a really weird plot point and I wasn't a fan. It's like set in some sort of ward for mental health stuff, and then like this weird shit happens where the main character practically gets raped or attempted to get raped by this other dude, and then somehow they turn that into him discovering his sexuality, and like he literally like wakes up with this guy in his bed naked and he keeps trying to touch him, and then it was really fucking weird. The guy was never told off. It was never like seen as a bad thing. Really fucking weird. Bye. We Disappear by Scott Haim was just a very big letdown. I really love Mysterious Skin by Scott Haim. It's a very hard-hitting book. This one was just boring. I mean, the back sounded really interesting about some weird shit, and then there was a kid in his basement tied up. But then the actual story was just boring, and it was about this dude looking after his mum. And then the kid in the basement wasn't even what you expect from the back. This lied sounded interesting. This was not interesting. It can go. Sugar Rush by Julie Burchill. I found this for like 49p. I thought, hey, I think that is what that TV show's based on. And I was right, because it literally says it somewhere on the front, like a major TV show, whatevs. I read it. TV show's way better. The book's just a little bit shit, so bye. Trainspotting and Filth by Irvine Welsh. I've read both of these. Both of them were alright. I think I got like 3.5 stars maybe both. I'm never going to read them again. They're just taking up space. I've read them. Cool. They can go now. Life or Death by Michael Robotham. I've never read this. I'm not going to read the back because it'll probably hook me into thinking I should keep it. But I'm not going to, because I don't need it. And I need to get rid of some books I haven't read. Otherwise this is going to be really bad for my read to unread ratio. Mundus Rad by Nicola Morgan. Interesting book, random premise, like a weird demon thing, and then also synesthesia. But I'm not going to read it again. It's just kind of chilling there, so it can go. Someday This Pain Will Be Useful to You by Peter Cameron. Not gonna lie, I kind of half want to keep it just because if I ever have a challenge to do a poetry spine thing, it's kind of cool, isn't it? It's got a good title. But it was a pretty just average, boring book. Not much happened. It's just a guy figuring out whether he wanted to go to uni and shit. Thinking Straight and A Secret Edge by Robin Reardon. These two, they just weren't the best. I've kept a different Robin Reardon. I've got a few other books, but these two just weren't it. One of them, it was just like super insta-lovey and it really annoyed me. And then they were just like pretty much having sex under a tree about 10 seconds after they met or some shit like that. Can't really remember. The other one, the guy was in like a conversion camp type thing and then trying to not be gay. And the story was alright, but then at the end there was just this massive twist thing. I'm just spoiling the books for you, whatevs. There was this massive twist thing where, you know, the priest was a paedophile and then he ties the main guy up and he's like doing a fucking villain monologue at him and he's gonna do all these sexual horrible things. So I'm like, why jump the shark that much? Because obviously that's what happens. But the way it was in here, it was just so out of the blue and so left field and it was just stupid and it ruined the book. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. I gave these 2 stars, it irritated me, I don't like it. That got 3, it was a bit better, but still not the best. I like the aesthetic, I like the concept of Alice in Wonderland, but the actual book, I found out I was not a fan. Soz. Alice is really fucking irritating. It's kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini. It was kind of alright, but it's nothing to chat home about. It was alright. I don't need it. I'm not going to read it again. It wasn't like amazing. Bye. Surefire by Jack Higgins with Justin Richards. This is one I haven't read. It's going to sit in there. I don't know, it feels like it might be a part of a series, but also it doesn't say anywhere that it is, but also I'm just not really bothered. It can go. We don't need it. Pandemonium by Christopher Brookmeyer. This is another one I haven't read. I kind of had a little flip through, but it didn't really catch my fancy. Well, I say flip through, I literally didn't read any of it, but just the way the book looks, I was like, you know, I can't be arsed with that. It can go. I don't need to read this. 101 Reasons I'd Rather Marry My Cat by Catherine Coggeshall. This book was just, it was alright. Like it says 101 reasons. It would have been cool if the reasons were different, but like, I swear down some of the reasons are just... That's all the book's gone. Some of the reasons were just regurgitated about 5 different times. It's written in a different way and it was literally the same thing. And I was just like, what's the point? Why don't you just say 50 reasons? Don't need it. All my books are on the floor in a pile. La, 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 la. Looking for Alaska. Paper Towns. The Fault in Our Stars. And An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. I've been thinking about this for a while. John Green, you know, he's alright. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll read An Abundance of Catherines and then get rid of them all because I've read these 3 and not this one. But then I'm like, what's the point? Because I know it's just going to be average like the rest of them. Most people say it's the worst book he's written anyway. So I'm like, do I care to read this and then get rid of them? If I already know I want to get rid of them, I don't need to read this. They can all just go. Flag on the Play by Sherry Henry. It was just, I didn't like it. I can't remember 100% why. I remember it was 2 stars. I think it was this book where... Obviously there's like homophobic shit because it's a gay contemporary. I swear down that everything was alright and then the main guy got in a car accident or some shit and then he was in a wheelchair. I was like, what's the point of just doing something like that at the end just for shock value? I think it was this book. Don't quote me on that. That might just be me making shit up. But I remember that it was just annoying and I don't care, so. The Illusion by DJ Cooper. This one, just a little gay novella, but I just didn't like it. I didn't find it interesting. The writing style was horrible. It's just... I didn't like it. I've got a review of it on Goodreads. I'm sure you don't care though. Geek Girl, Model Misfit, Picture Perfect, and Geek Drama by Holly Small. I read the first one. I have no interest in reading this. It's like a young YA, you know, when it's like middle grade into YA, I think. About a girl being a model. I don't care. The Screwed Up Life of Charlie II by Drew Ferguson. This book was just annoying. I don't mind when young male teenagers are horny all the time, but I swear down, every other page of this he was just jacking off and it was just really irritating. There was even a point where he was at a funeral and then he was so horny he had to go to the bathroom and then jacked off. And then I think, if I remember correctly, he then is talking to the widow or whoever the fuck it is because someone's died. And then he just looks down and then he's got spunk on his flipping tie. And I'm like, I don't need this in my life. He was just a bit of a dick and always jacking off. And that's all I can remember about this book. So I don't think there was actually a storyline other than that. Dave Gorman versus the rest of the world. This is about Dave Gorman playing games with people. I've not read it. I don't care. I thought it might be interesting, but I had a little flip through and I started reading like one sentence. I was like, I don't care. I don't even particularly like Dave Gorman, to be honest. He's a comedian, but I don't even find him that funny, so why would I read this? Confessions of a Conjurer by Darren Brown. This one's kind of painful because I hated the book and I love Darren Brown. But I don't need it. I really disliked it. It has flipping footnotes that are like 3 pages long and I'm not here for that. I didn't like it. I talked about it whenever I've read it. It can go. It was a very, very big disappointment because I love Darren Brown, but this book is trash. I can't be asked to say all the names, but The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. I'm keeping her other books. I'm keeping The Infernal Devices and The Dark Artifices, but this series can just get out of my life because I hate Clary and it's irritating, and every single time that Jace has ever talked about it, he's just talking about being golden, and I'm just like, get a new descriptive word, get a character with a personality, get characters in love because of reasons other than the fact that he's got fucking golden abs. Get out of my life, basically. That's where these go in, out. I really enjoy hating them, but I don't need them taking up this much space on my shelf, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Imagine taking a condom to the demon world because, just in case. Because that's the first thing you think about when you're going on a mission, isn't it? That's a genuine thing that happens in these books. A condom in the literal demon world. Sabriel and Lyrial by Garth Nix. I read these, I enjoyed them enough, but I don't need to keep them. They weren't amazing, they didn't really hook me enough for me to even care about carrying on the series. I think there's like 2 more books in the series. Cool, whatevs. I don't need them. I have too many fucking series I need to finish. I don't need to finish ones that I don't care about. Kind of in a similar vein, The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Again, I don't need to finish this series. I read this book last month, I think, maybe the month before, and the first half it was alright, but then stuff changed and I just don't care. The first chapter of the second book is in the back of this and I just don't care. Another series one that I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me with, but the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I read the 5th season. I've not read these 2, but you know what? I don't want to. I'm over it. I know people absolutely adore and love and think this series is amazing, but as a person that really fucking hates, can't abide second person writing, I just can't. I can't put myself through this. This book, I stopped reading it for like 3 months halfway through because I was that over having to read second person every other chapter. I hate it that much. I was literally in my head changing it to she and her as I was reading, which made it take like 3 times as long to read. I hate it. At the end of this book I was hoping that, oh, maybe the next book won't have second person in it as much. This one, I looked, the second chapter is second person. I'm like, I'm not putting myself through that because even if it's a good storyline and a good characters, I'm going to hate the experience of reading these, so I'm not going to enjoy them, so they can just get out of my life. I'm sure someone will have a lot of fun finding these and reading them, but that person is not me because I hate second person and I can't do it to myself. Sorry, I know a lot of people love it. It's not for me. Next up, the Sucky Stackhouse series by Charlene Harris. There's 10 books here. I think I read the first 2, but there was many moons ago and I just don't think I'm going to read them. I think I'm going to give these to my mum though because, you know, like vampires, sexy vampires, I'm sure she'll enjoy that stuff. But, I mean, that's like a bunch of books that I haven't read that I was just like, get rid, because I need to get rid of some books that I haven't read. And am I ever going to read this? I've been hanging on to it for a long time, like, oh, I'll get to it eventually, I'll get to it eventually. Will I? No, I will not. So it's going. And last but certainly not least, I have The King Chronicles by Rick Riordan. I love Rick Riordan, I love all of his series, except this one. I really disliked it. I gave the first book 2 stars, I gave the other 2 3 stars. I didn't like it. I didn't like the characters, I didn't like the way it was written. I didn't like the way it was written as it's already happened, and then the characters are bickering during the actual telling of the thing, and I'm just like, go away, I hate this. I hate the fact that the characters have love interest from the second of the first book, when all the rest of his books are great in the way that it has people being friends and then potentially be a love interest like the last book. But in here, both of the teenage characters, one of them that's like 12, not even a teenager maybe, has like 2 different love interests each, and I'm just like, no, I don't, just get off me. Look how massive they are. I don't need this much space taken up by books I didn't enjoy, so they can get out of my life. So there we have it. That was 61-ish books that I am unhauling. This is going to be fun taking it to a charity shop. It's going to be lots of bags. But let me know down below what you thought about this. I'm sure potentially there's some books in there that you very much enjoy or want to read or like or think I'm wrong in not liking, but whatevs, don't matter. I don't want them here. Oh, actually, you know what I should do? I should have a look on my book tracker and like take away the ones that I'm getting rid of and see if it actually has changed my read to unread much. I'm gonna do that. I really wish I didn't throw all the books on the floor before I did this, because it's gonna be hard to remember what to take off. But I'm gonna do that. Oh, hey Mance, are you just chilling? Enjoying the vid? So I just went and took all the books off my tracker, and originally I had 829 books. I'd read 525, which meant I'd read 63%, and now I have 768 books. I've read 485, and the percent is still 63, so we're all good. It hasn't dampened my percentage. I'm good. We're good. So yeah, I think I already did the talk to me in the comments bit, so if this is your first video about me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of the others, and if you continue to enjoy, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video. Bye.